Twitter handle. So thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. We are also hiring, so I'm going to just take my 15 seconds to let you know we're hiring in sales and social media and a bunch of stuff. We've gone from 12 to 40 employees this year, and it's been all about scaling. And one of the things that we've recently really started doing, I was told today to talk about things that are helpful to startups, is we've really started planning our quarters like Google does. And Google's been doing this since they started. They were barely a year old when the concept of OKRs was introduced, so objectives and key results. And I think it's really changed how we focus our company. If any of you are either startup owners or you're in that initial phase or even in the fast growth phase, you're sitting there going, everything feels like it's important. Everything feels like it should be top of mind, and it's so hard to prioritize. And it's also hard as your company grows to make sure that your entire company knows what's important. And that's one of the things we've really learned this year. We used to have one person in a department. Now we have 9 people in a department. And we're trying to figure out, how do we make sure that everybody is following the same objective? How do we make sure that everybody knows what that is? And it's really easy to sit down and say, well, yeah, our big audacious goal is to be the leader in our industry in the next 5 years. But that's really not measurable. And so one of the things we've started doing is at the beginning of every quarter, we sit down and we create our objectives and key results, or OKRs is what we abbreviate them to. So they're supposed to be ambitious. They're supposed to be something that you cannot accomplish 100%. And it's supposed to be 3 to 5 for the quarter period. You don't want to do 1 million. But what are the big fires that your company is trying to take care of, put out? What are the big things that we're trying to accomplish? But they're supposed to be measurable, which I have found really, really helpful. So for example, one of the things we're doing on our team is our onboarding of new clients takes a long time. It takes an average of 8 weeks. Our big audacious goal is let's get that down to 2 weeks by the end of the quarter. The goal is to hit about 70% on that. So it's supposed to be measurable, and it's supposed to be something that you can keep going back to and choosing. They're also supposed to be timely. So what is the definitive end of this OKR? When do we know that we got there or we didn't get there? So we do it quarterly. So right now we're reaching the end of our quarter. And they're supposed to be public. So Google does this across the entire company. They have company-wide OKRs. And what I really like is they go from setting the company-wide OKR to, on a departmental basis, setting that, and then you pass that on to each employee. So each employee has their own OKR to follow, and everybody is on the same objective. What that's done as our team grows is it's super clear the direction we're going in. Nobody's wondering, everybody's looking at these OKRs on a regular basis. And this is how we as a company build progress, but it's also how we focus. Jordan Menashe, who's the co-founder at Bench Accounting, they're the 4th fastest growing company in Canada. He recently joined us as Chief of Revenue. And he's coming in and he's saying, what are our OKRs? And it's been so helpful because as the COO of my company, there are 80,000 fires put out at once. How do I make sure that we're all focused on the same thing? How do I make sure that our engineering team, our designers, our social media team, everybody knows the direction we're heading in, and how do we take care of that? So what we've done is we'll set it at a strategic level, and then we'll go through the departmental level, and then we'll go through for each individual, and it's public to everyone. So I find that it's so much more helpful than just setting goals, because then you actually have measurable things at the end of that quarter that you see what got you a little bit closer to where you're trying to go. So just as a quick example, for example, we're going to grow our MRR by 130% by the end of Q1 in 2018. That's big and audacious. And what you do is you say, what is 70% of this? And that is what we're really trying to hit. The reason we go over and above that is it really makes you think. It's like, yeah, I know how to get to 100%, but would I have to change something to make us get to 130%? Is there something that I have to reimagine that I hadn't reimagined? So the goal is to get you to think that one step further. So that's the objective. The key results, and you want to do 3 to 5 underneath that, are what would make that objective happen. So we want to increase sales month by month by 15%. We want to decrease cost of acquisition from $1,000 to $600. We want to increase ARPA from 300 to 400. So you really want to get very specific. And then from there, I take this to every single department. And I say, if this is our goal, how does your department accomplish part of this? And then how does each individual accomplish this as a result? And I hope that that's helpful. I found it really helpful in how we set our objectives and how we set our vision each quarter. It's a lot easier. And then you sit down. We did this today. All of our leaders on our team, we sat down and we started going through our objectives and key results and saying, what is on target? What is behind schedule? What is ahead of schedule? What is unknown and why is it unknown? And it's really helped us to really start setting our OKRs for next quarter. So I hope you guys find that helpful. Questions? Is that how this works? Yeah? There you go. That's okay. I don't even know what my time is. Am I under?
You did wonderful.
Oh.
Yeah, you did. I love your cheering squad.
Yeah,
They're really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions? There we
Yes.
go. If you could kindly just come to the front. I'm so sorry, because we have a video going. There's a lot, logistically. Yeah. Has anyone watched while we're waiting? Yeah. While we're waiting, has anyone watched the D-Wave presentation? Or Kindred, Jordy Rose? Check out our YouTube channel. It's at 20,000 views. It's pretty impressive. Anyways.
So Rebecca, I'm just wondering, how do you determine your goals?
So the big thing we went through this quarter was where are our bottlenecks? So if we're struggling anywhere to grow this company, because that's where we're at, we're multiplying times 5 this year. So where are our bottlenecks? And we're fortunate that it's not sales, so that's great. But we said, oh wow, it's taking us 8 weeks to onboard new clients. That's ridiculous. That we're going to lose people in the process. And then the other bottleneck is that we don't actually measure a lot of things. So we said, okay, well then those are going to be our objectives for this quarter. So if we're going to keep scaling, we got to take care of the bottlenecks. Next quarter, we're getting into our Series A round. So how do we make sure that our investors understand that we are who we say we are? And so we've set our objectives based on that. And what do we need to do within the company to make sure that we're reflecting it? So,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks for the question, Sherry. Any other questions? Louis. Is it Louis or Louis? Louis. So your guys' name would be Rui? Yeah.
So apart from your OKRs, what keeps you up at night?
Oh gosh.
Great question. Great question.
Well, I'm a little bit of an odd one. I have night terrors. Does anybody? I walk in my sleep. So I actually wake up thinking that I have somehow erased the entire company. So this happens to me on a regular basis. But I think what keeps me up at night is we really, really care about how we grow our company and the people that join our company. And what keeps me up is, we're growing so fast. Does everybody know that we care? Are we missing something entirely? Recently, somebody had a family emergency, and I didn't know until after they had gotten back. And I was like, wait, I want to be a part of that. And so it's learning how to properly care for our people while we really focus on blowing up the company that keeps me up at night. So, yeah.
Great answer. Any other questions? Okay. Well, that was great. Thank you so much again, Rebecca. A round of applause.